Hello, welcome back to Reads of an Apple. My name is Stacy, and today I'm here to start week 31, I believe. Yes, week 31 of 2023. Now, typically, I film my opening clips on the weekends, usually sometime on Sunday. However, it is Monday. Happy Monday. My sister ended up coming over yesterday about middle of the day and then was here until evening time, and then I had my last minute, like I needed to finish laundry and my normal Sunday chores I needed to take care of, and then I ended up just kind of going to bed because she was here so late, but that's fine. So I'm here today to film my opening clip. I will say it is about 8, it is almost 9 o'clock. If you see flashing, I'm sorry, but we have had a crazy thunderstorm here for about 2 hours now. This storm has just parked over us, and typically when we get lightning, especially in my area, it's very, upper level cloud lightning, sheet lightning, but we've had strikes. We've had sheet lightning, and it's all very, very low. Typically our storms where I am in Colorado aren't this low. I mean, I've seen like some really crazy strikes, and then so the thunder crack that's like immediately after it has like scared me. It's been so loud, but I'm enjoying it. But when it's that low, I would typically sit and read in my chair that's in my big bedroom window, but lightning can come through a window. So I was like, I'm not going to worry about it. I don't want to cause an issue, but I opened my blinds and my curtains, and I was laying on my bed reading. Happy July 31st. Happy last day of July. Today's the last day of the Little Cafe Readathon. Also tonight, so I've been doing reading sprints off and on for Little Cafe Readathon this weekend. There's actually the final one is currently happening, but it goes from 8 to 11 p.m. my time, so I definitely still have time to join in, and I was reading before I filmed this clip, so I still am participating, but I wanted to film my clip before it got too much later. Tonight was also the kickoff for the Romance Readathon, which starts tomorrow, but they did the live show reading sprints kickoff tonight, so I participated in that, and that was super fun as well. So we have some things to talk about. I'm gonna hopefully not try to talk too much about things and keep this opening clip not ridiculously long, I say, as I've already gabbed at you for 3 minutes. I do have one tiny little unboxing for you. So recently, they announced the 2023 Drills and Chills. This started out as a diamond painting event. Funny enough, I participated in this event back in 2020. I think that was either the first or second year it was held, and I never finished it. So I never finished that diamond painting, but I did participate. You just need to start one and finish one. It goes from September 1st through October 31st, but I saw the announcement recently go up. I'll pop it up above here. They have since included like adult coloring, cross stitching, and a couple other crafts. But I was like, I've been really wanting to diamond paint, and I have a couple of fall, well, that was a big thunder, fall diamond paintings that I haven't started. So I was like, ooh, I'd like to do at least one of those. So, because I recently got a ergonomic diamond painting pen, I guess. I wanted to get one because that one's Galaxy and it's gorgeous and I love it, but I was like, I want one that's like fall Halloween vibed. So I was looking online and I found one that does give fall Halloween vibes, and it was on sale for like $5. So I bought it. I will link it down below if you are interested, but oh my gosh, this is cute. So this does come with plastic tips, but I do have metal tips. I might get another set of metal tips so I can replace things, but this is the bag of plastic tips. And it's this cute little package. But this is full of plastic tips. I see a straightener. I see a bent single. That's a 5-placer. There's a lot of tips in this. Not just like one of each, which is crazy. So I'm going to open it up to see what exactly is all in here. I more was just looking at the pen itself and not the tips, because I know I want to try metal placing and see how that works for me. So we've got, all right, 2 single placers and then 2 bent single placers. I'm just gonna set those aside. Oh, 2 straighteners, so I bet there's 2 of everything. Here's 2 3-placers, and then this is 2 5-placers. It could be 6-placers. And then this is a lot bigger. So these are probably 2 9-placers. So 2 placers of everything. That's fun. And then it did come with a little extra long rectangle of wax. But here is the pen. I wanted something Halloween, and they have some that are like clear resin with Halloween charms. But I was like, I want something that's also kind of fall and not just Halloween. So here it's orange. It's a clear orange with black swirls. I like it. It's not quite what I thought. There's not as much black, but I know with these types of designs, all of them are random. It's just whatever happens when the resin pours. And it looks like there is a 3-placer and a bent single placer in here. So I should be able to pull these out. Yeah, the 3-placer popped out super easy. There's a mosquito. I got it. No, I have mosquito guts on my hand. Great. Well, just wipe that off on my pants. No big deal. Okay, yeah, this one was a little stuck in there, but cool. So that's fun. So I think this will be perfect. The orange color will be great for fall and Halloween, I think. So I'm super excited. Now I have 2 diamond painting pens, but this one I want to use specifically for drills and chills. So I'm super excited. It came in this cute like holographic packaging. I like this packaging. It's super cute. And these, even though I have a lot of plastic tips, these feel sturdier than the ones than the other ones I have. So I think I might try some of these plastic ones and see how they compare with the other ones I have going on. But it started. I bought 1 pen. I bought 1 acrylic fancier pen for diamond painting, and now I've got 2. And now it's a spiral because this is what I do with crafts. And I know this is what happens to a lot of people when it comes to crafts, but that's just how it goes. But I wanted something fun for drills and chills, so I'm excited to participate. My plan is to do a fall one and then maybe do a Halloween related one in the month of October. But but maybe the October one I might try to finish the other one I have because it's a witch. So when I do it, I will show it to you. I don't think it's even halfway done because things were going on in my life at that time. And I think what really happened was I switched over to working on Christmas presents, but I would like to get my witch one done so I can display it for Halloween. So we'll see. I haven't decided which fall one I'm going to do, but I do have one that's like Hello Fall with a kitty face on it. So I'm leaning towards that one. But when I do it, I will let you know. Like I said, we have till September for me to really kind of pin down what I want to do. So let's do the quest calendar and then we will talk about books. So if you are new here, I have been playing the quest calendar. This is a tabletop role-playing game that is in the form of a daily calendar with Saturdays and Sundays combined. It is created by Sundial Games, which is, fun fact, based out of Colorado Springs. So it is a local Colorado company, which is super fun. The theme for 2023 is the Void Spark Chronicles. So this is all sci-fi themed. So I think Star Trek, Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica, Firefly, you know the drill. And this is a D20 based system. So that's similar to Pathfinder, Dungeons and Dragons, D20 Modern, those types of games. I have them linked below. The Kickstarter for the 2024 just wrapped up not too long ago. But I'm sure you will be able to either just buy it directly from their website or do like a late backing survey type thing. I do play with, I get a more deluxe version that comes with the Hero Companion book. I think it's really great. I love that like the base pre-made characters are in here and they come pre-leveled up for their skills and things like that. So that's super helpful. They've made some changes for the 2023 edition that have made this even more fun. One of the things being our ship upgrades and character equipment are on these fun reusable stickers now. But this is our ship. We are a crew member on the Karnak. And then I have been playing as Zarilla Tur. She is Urzen and her class is a mystic. There's another mosquito. It went too far away. So yeah, this is her. I've been playing as her. It's super fun. We have been trying to track down a scientist named Andy. She was kidnapped. So we have gone to a planet that she used to kind of live at and seeing if we could find any information about her and maybe if she has escaped from these rebel people, where she might have gone for safe haven or any hints on why she might be having issues with these rebel people. So we are on a new planet, which is super fun, and we are searching for her old living area. So we have 2 days to catch up on. We have these weekend pages and we have today's pages, but we will do kind of a brief rundown. Usually a page will look similar to this. We will most likely have a full page of art. Anything in this script type font will be our story. Anything in this block type font, usually in a box, will be the mechanics of how we are playing that day's page. If it is a combat page, there will be a table that tells us how many creatures, how many rounds, how many enemies, that type of thing, and what type of rolls we are making. All of the information we need to play this day's pages is on the back, as you can see this text on the back of the previous day page. So you cannot spoil yourself unless you go out of your way to do so. So let me grab my dice here, bring them a little bit closer, and we will just get straight to it. So here is the like jungly area that we were searching for, trying to find Andy's old hideout area. And we think we might have found it. Oh, okay, something looks like either we're getting attacked. This looks like it might be our ship, so I think we might be getting attacked. Okay, when trying to land near the clearing, a laser blast from the ground hits the Karnak, damaging the stabilizing thrusters. You struggle to maintain control while more shots are fired from below. So number 1, gain control of the ship's maneuverability. Number 2, avoid the laser fire. That would be great. Yes, please, and thank you. So, let's see if we have any more information. 1, gain control of the ship's maneuverability. The stabilizers for the ship are damaged too much to provide sufficient steering. So this will be a dexterity roll with the skill piloting. We do not have piloting, but our dexterity is a +4. So I will roll our d20, and this is the Galaxy dice set that came with the game. 17. And we have a +4. So 21 total. All right, if the result is 16 or more, you use advanced steering techniques to guide the ship with gravity and against existing wind conditions. These are effective techniques that you are pulling off well, but they are not the same as having the full engine's assistance. Take a -5 penalty to avoid the laser fire, number 2 below. Note down limited maneuvers somewhere for future use. That's the highest result. Like, what would our minus have been in the previous ones? That's crazy. So, number 2, avoid the laser fire. So, this is an evasion roll for our ship, which is a D100 roll. I just got a freaking mosquito bite on my arm. This mosquito is annoying me. I hate mosquitoes. I always have to be super aware of them, though, too, because while I haven't had any issues, my brother and sister, when they get bitten by mosquitoes, if they scratch it open at all, they get, like, staph infections. And so the doctors have said that they're, like, more than slightly allergic to mosquito bites, which is crazy. So being as that's something that could be triggered in my DNA, I always get super worried about mosquitoes. But, you know, knock on wood, nothing has happened. Oh, and I hear the ambulances going like crazy. I hope whoever it is okay. That's always my thought when I hear ambulances. It looks like the storm, like it's still raining, but it looks like the volatile portion of the storm has finally passed us. The lightning has calmed down, which is nice. Because I wanted to edit a video tonight, but I was like, I don't want my computer exporting and then possibly getting a power surge with all this lightning. So we shall see. Maybe I'll do it later tonight, but who knows. But anyway, back to this. So we get a -5, and our evasion is, let me switch to our character sheet, or our ship sheet. So we get a +10 for evasion. So we get a total of a +5 to our D100 roll. And if you are new to tabletop gaming, to roll a D100 roll, you roll your percentile, which is a D10 with the 10s on it, and your normal D10. So this gives you your 10 digit, and this gives you your single digit. So let us see. That is what is that? Is that a 9 or a 4? That is a 9. Okay, so we are at 93, and we get a total of +5. So 98 is our evasion. Let's see. Oh, there was more description to read for you. So 2, avoid the laser fire. A hidden laser cannon of some sort continues to fire from cover below the trees. So if the result is 76 or more, the ship takes no damage. Woo! Cool. Great. So there is that. Now, before we move on to today, Monday's page, there is also a new mechanic added in 2023. That is this box here. It is called the Sunday Lottery. And what that is when we play our weekend page, if we so choose, we can roll a D6. If we roll a 1 or a 2, we lose a little bit of money. But if we roll a 3 or higher, we get the chance to gain a little bit of money. And it's worth it. So that is a 2. Because the odds are usually in our favor. But a 2 is losing 1 credit. So it doesn't really do much because I have so many credits stashed up. But it's still fun to do and play. So there is that. There is our ship. And those are the lasers we are avoiding. So let's see what today's page brings on. And then we will talk about books. So, ooh. It kind of looks like we crash landed or something. I don't know. Let's see. The Karnak took several hits and the stabilizers were blown out. The ship is headed for a crash and will be difficult to control for a safe landing. Apparently, we just don't get a choice, even though we rolled really well on the previous page. So, number 1, wrestle for control before the ship plummets, and 2, guide the ship to a safe landing. So let's see if there is more. Wrestle for control before the ship plummets. If you have limited maneuvers, which we do, noted down from an earlier page, you are able to maintain some stability from before, even as the ship continues to go down. Gain a +3 bonus to this roll. Okay, that helps. So this is a strength roll reminder. Piloting, we do not have piloting. Our strength is a -1. So with our bonus +3, we are now at a +2, which is great. Okay, and that is an 18, so 20 total. If the result is 16 or more, you grapple with the steering controls, and as long as you can guide one turn into another, you are able to steer the ship into a decent glide. Take a -1 penalty to guide the ship to safety. Number 2 below. So, number 2, guide the ship to a safe landing. The Karnak falls to the ground, and as you direct it into a slower glide, it tears through the trees in its path. Heavy and thick tree trunks smash against the hull. So, this is a wisdom roll, reminder, piloting, and danger sense. So, our wisdom is a +4. We do have danger sense, so that gives us a +6 total, but we have the -1 penalty, so that makes it a +5. So, let's see what happens. +5. Well, that's an 11, but that gives us 16. So hopefully, let's see. If the result is 16 or more, the ship takes no damage. That was one less. We might have been in a little bit of trouble. So, but that's okay. We just managed to scrape through, thankfully. So we are now officially on the ground in our smoking damaged ship. So we will see hopefully tomorrow. But whenever my next clip is, you will see what happens next. So, while I pack this up, let us talk about books. I ended up going over, I ended up having plans Saturday night. I went over to a friend's house and we hung out, and it was a lot of fun. So I did that, and then my sister came over. So I ended up not having near as much time as I was expecting to read to finish out the month, but that is a-okay. I still got things done. So I'm trying to think how I want to talk about things. So I guess I'll talk about things in the order I finished them. So I did read a little bit on Friday and a little bit on Saturday night. But last night, Sunday night, I did finish before bed A Blue Ribbon Romance by C.M. Nascosta. I picked it up randomly from KU. I have another ebook going. And I wasn't feeling it, so I was like, I'm going to download something funky. And this is what I went with. I'm going to give it 4 stars. I definitely think I enjoyed the Morning Glory Milking Farm better. I feel like as sweet and as nice as Rourke, our Minotaur, is, I feel like it was a little much for him to carry a whole book. And I can't remember if I had this issue with Morning Glory Milking Farm or if I had this with one of the other books I've read from C.M. Nascosta. But sometimes her characters have flashbacks to like a previous, like this one specifically to a previous date or a previous encounter between Rourke and Violet, and it's like him getting ready to meet her and he has a reminiscence of a previous time they met, but there's no clear delineation of we're moving back in time, now we're back in the present. And so it's hard for me sometimes to really like, when we suddenly jump back, I'm like, oh yeah, this was a reminiscent. Like, I don't know why we wouldn't just go in order for some of these things. Like, I don't need every single date from them, and I read Morning Glory and Milking Farm more recently, so maybe that's also why I was just like, this is weird. But I don't know, that kind of bothered me a little bit, and I just was like, just give us it in order, or do like a page break or like a little squiggly line and then, back in the present, or something like, Rourke's jolted back into the present or something like that. Like, I wish there was more delineation of when we are suddenly changing time period. Because it's not like in the past is like super in the past. It might just be like a week ago. But it's still like we're halfway into like a date in the present, and then suddenly he's reminiscing about something that happened a week ago, and then we're back in the middle of this date. So that kind of thing, I was just like, I can't. I feel like maybe Morning Glory Milking Farm had that too, but I don't remember. I don't know. With me not doing full-on written reviews this year, I feel like I haven't quite maintained as much information about some of these books as I typically do. But I definitely still at least talking about them in my weekly vlogs. I feel like I have maintained quite a bit of information, a lot more than I used to maintain before I had a blog or a booktube or anything. But that is a little bit of a struggle for me, writing style wise of CM. And I don't know if it was Morning Glory or the Marble Marquee book that I read, but one or even maybe both of them, I did struggle a little bit with just that sort of piecing and timeline jumbled upness of the book. But it was cute. I mean, Rourke, we knew, was a cinnamon roll, and, you know, he was completely gone from Violet pretty much from the first off. So, I mean, it was cute. He fantasized about her a lot more than I remembered him being open with her about in Morning Glory Milking Farm, but it was cute. It was fun. If you read the first book and enjoyed the first book, I mean, it was definitely cute, but I almost wish that we would have had the important bits from this book just in with Violet's portion of the story and just on a dual POV, but I feel like Morning Glory Milking Farm really kind of not necessarily created, but maybe, I don't know. I want to say birthed, but I don't think that's quite the right word. But I don't know, brought monster romance, monster fantasy romance into the forefront in a new way with these more mythological fantasy-based creatures. Because let's be honest, I mean, a lot of vampire romances and every single werewolf romance is technically a monster romance, especially with werewolves. But this is like a whole new thing with the fantasy monster romances and then the alien monster romances. And so it's just, not that they weren't around before, but people didn't think of them as such. And so I feel like this is, but let's be honest, I mean, it's been a thing because I mean, it's even discussed in this book about the Minotaurian legends from like Greece and stuff of the, you know, female sacrifices to the Minotaur in the maze. And so I just, you know, it's been a thing for a long time, but I feel like Morning Glory Milking Farm really kind of exploded it into its own thing, I feel like, especially in modern day. But yeah, I thought it was super cute. 4 stars. As for reading challenges, I applied this to. For Guildathon, I applied this to Harmony, which is characters that get along with each other. There's not really much angst in this. We saw more of the angst of them, will they, won't they get together, I feel like, in Violet's POV, and I think that's maybe why I enjoyed hers a little bit more, is because it felt more chronological and we got more of the little pieces. But because this was like going back and like filling in some of those empty spots, we didn't quite, like, I feel like this doesn't quite stand as much on its own, especially when we come to the very minor conflicts between them about the fact like he's technically her client at the milking farm and things like that. But those are all addressed in the full book. So I don't know how well this would work completely by itself. Maybe not as well as you would think. But anyway, for 2023 Summer Musical Tour, I have my first application to my bonus prompts for Super Junior, and I applied this to the second studio album, Don't Dawn, and I used this for the song A Man in Love, because Rourke pretty much falls in love with Violet at first sight. For Read the Season, I applied this to holiday number 3 for the letter N. For the Little Cafe Readathon, I am applying this to Cherry Cream Soda, which is 2 people on the cover. Then for Magical Readathon, I am applying this to one of the prompts for the Apothecary Keeper opportunity, and that is plants on the cover. And then actually when I was Saturday night, when I went over to Patty's house, she has planted all of these flowers, and I was like, oh, they're so pretty, and I took a couple pictures of them, and then I realized after the fact, I was like, oh wait, I need to take pictures of flower for Magical Readathon, so I have that clicked off too. So I just need to read one more book with plants on the cover, and then I am an apothecary keeper as a part-time job, which is super fun. Alexa, dismiss.
1 hour and 30-minute timer stopped on Stasis Echo Dog.
Okay, so there is that. Now, Saturday, I wanted to pick up a new audiobook, and I knew for Read the Season, for holiday number 1, I had 1 letter left, and that was the letter U. So I looked through my Hoopla favorites to see if I had any audiobooks saved that started with the letter U, because that was one I definitely had to find several options for the spring Read the Season. And I did have one saved from Emma Hart, and that is The Upside to Being Single. This is a standalone technically, but this is associated to 2 other books that are friends of the main character in this one, and that's considered a duology, but it's like standalone duology. So I thought it was interesting that this is a standalone, but then her 2 best friends are in a series by themselves. But this was fine. I gave it 3 stars. It was okay. So basic premise is this is set in New Orleans. Melly is like the top manager at a local hotel. It's a small hotel, but it is in New Orleans. It's Mardi Gras season, and she is headed home with her friends after a night on the town, and they're just like, live a little, and they kind of cajole her into flashing her boobs to some boys who are hanging out on a balcony. I guess they're men, not boys. And she sees one she finds is super attractive, so she makes eye contact with him before she does this. She's not wearing a bra at the time. And it's come to find out he is the new owner of her hotel, because he just got an inheritance from his grandfather passing. But his stipulation is he had to invest in a business, and so he chose to buy this hotel and kind of revamp it and renovate it and go from there. So he's her new boss. So we've got forced proximity. I give this 3 stars just because it was fine. I mean, I was thinking 3.5, but then the ending was a little kind of, a little stereotypical. For the situation of just what was going on. He was very into her. She was also into him, but playing it off like she wasn't, and that she was annoyed by him. And I was just like, just give into it. The humor didn't quite work for me as well in this one as it has in previous books that I've read by Emma Hart. I still think her Kiss Me series and her Bookworm's Guide and then somewhat her Introvert's Guides really have been the series that I've really loved from her. So, I mean, I'll keep trying because some of them do really work for me. I am kind of intrigued to read the other two associated books, but we shall see. But Melly and Jake were cute. Jake, I definitely liked more than Melly. The humor just didn't quite hit me as well this time. I also feel like Emma Hart is British, so I don't know how accurate this was. This definitely paid a lot of attention to the more touristy parts of New Orleans, and while she probably got that right, I don't know, I felt like having read like Stay a Spell and just hearing Juliet Cross and then her niece Jessin, who's Smart Women Read Romance, just talk about books set in New Orleans and Louisiana, I was just like, I don't know, some of this might not be right or too touristy, so I wasn't 100% sold on the New Orleans thing, or some of the things, instead of being like, that's interesting, I didn't know that about New Orleans, I definitely was like, I wonder how true that is. So a different kind of tone in the same thinking of the line, but I said, 3 stars aren't bad ratings for me. 3-star means it was fine. It was fun. We'll see what happens in the future. But, yeah. So 3 stars. It was fine. So and then I finished that today at work. I had about an hour and a half left of that. So for Gildathon, I applied this to One Hit Wonder, which is a standalone book. For the 2023 Summer Musical Tour, I applied this to Beyonce and her Renaissance World Tour 2023 for the same thing, a standalone. Read a book that's a standalone. For Read the Season, like I mentioned, I applied this to the letter U for holiday number 1, which means that I have officially finished my first holiday. And that means I have finished level 1, which is Read the Season in 1 holiday. For Little Cafe Readathon, I applied this to Strawberry Champagne for the self-published or indie published prompt. I am Team Cherry, but I applied it to Team Strawberry. And then for the Magical Readathon, this doesn't work for any of the prompts I currently have for my classes or for the opportunities I have set up. So I'm just going to have a list because technically with the 3 levels of the classes, you have the ordinary, qualified, and distinguished. You can read a distinguished or a qualified book left, but you actually don't qualify for, like, when it comes to the end of the readathon if you don't complete the previous levels. So to get ordinary, you just have to read ordinary. To get qualified, you have to do ordinary and qualified. And for distinguished, you have to read all 3 prompts to qualify as distinguished. So I'm going to just keep a track of the books that I can apply to these other classes because there were several different prompts I could apply it to. But I was like, I'm going to hold off because I don't want to apply it to one class when I would end up needing to move it to a different class to then get me qualified level. And these are just going to be extra classes. They aren't adding anything extra to my character outside of, basically taking extracurricular credits for fun. I know that some people do work on 2 callings at once, but I'm just going to apply them for fun as we see. Maybe there'll be more extras that happen in the future that I could potentially apply them to, but for now, I'm just keeping it a list for it will be applied somewhere to the Magical Readathon. I'm just not sure exactly where yet. Okay, so I finished that today at work. Now, as for the book that I have been reading, ebook-wise, that I started before A Blue Ribbon Romance, I am currently at 66% of That Kind of Guy by Stephanie Archer, I think. Yeah, Stephanie Archer. I'm enjoying this. I definitely am enjoying this. I was kind of feeling a little meh about it, or just in the mood for something else more. So that's why I changed to the CM Nascosta book. But I have since jumped back into this because I was like, I need to finish this book by tonight for my July stats. I'd like to get it done. According to my Kindle, I only have like an hour left on it. So I should be able to finish it tonight. But I'm enjoying it so far. We have finally had some steam kind of happen between Avery and Emmett. They had their first kiss, and things just keep kind of going further and further in their fake dating situation, but they're both kind of at least acknowledging the attraction they have for each other, and just at least in their own POVs how much more they're starting to feel for each other, but they aren't telling each other that. I did think it was super cute that Avery is feeling bad to lying to a lot of people, especially Emmett's mother and her friend Hannah, and she finally caved and told Hannah because she was like, I have to tell somebody. But her friend was like, I'm gonna keep it a secret. And I think Hannah is a heroine in a future book, and she's like the local bookstore owner, and she's like super introverted. She talks about her like other best friend is Jane Austen, and I'm just like, oh, Hannah. So we'll see what happens in Hannah's book. I'm definitely intrigued to keep reading. I just think Avery is a little bit of a pricklier heroine than I typically can get behind, so I am struggling connecting with her, but I think also because she's not really opening up very much to Emmett, and I feel like while Emmett is pretending that he's not actually opening up to her, or it's all just a facade, he really is opening up to her. And when something happens and she presses for information, he kind of doesn't want to give it up, but she keeps pressing for the information, and eventually he does. And so she's almost kind of pressing him to be vulnerable in a way, and forcing him to be a little bit more open with her, but she's not doing the same thing. And Emmett is too good of a guy to push her to be more vulnerable or open with him. So that's kind of like rubbing me wrong a little bit. She also still hasn't told her parents that she's potentially getting married. Which we know it's fake, but it's probably not going to be fake. I mean, that's how these books go, right? So, and I get that there's issues. Apparently she hasn't talked to her father in 2 years. I knew there were issues with her father, but I didn't realize they were like that bad of issues. So, yeah. I'll keep chugging along. 66%. Things are finally kind of starting to build with them. We get a getting each other off scene. They haven't gone all the way, but they super sweet. He talks about how he never went to prom because his girlfriend broke up with him the night before prom, and then he didn't want to go to prom and see her with this other guy she liked. And then come to find out these are his next door neighbors, who is Will, and Will is his best friend, childhood best friend. They are the one that moved away because their daughter is on dialysis, and with the electrical things, this is why Emmett's running for mayor. And Nat was his girlfriend, who is now Emmett's wife and mother of their child, kind of a thing. So because he never went to prom, they're at the local like farmers market thing, and some of the high schoolers are asking for donations for the prom, and Avery ends up offering to kind of be like adult chaperones for the prom, and then they can get dressed up, and she takes Emmett to the prom. And so that was really cute. She just needs to stop pretending that she's doing these nice things for him just to be nice. Like, she needs to kind of do some soul searching and like own up to her feelings that are developing, which is why I'm still on board with her. But the way that she acts when she's with Emmett at times, or when she like just leaves him and she realizes how into him she is, she shuts it down really quickly. And I'm like, girl, we got to get with the program. We got to get with the program. So I'm still enjoying it. So there is that. Then Before we left work, I did start a new audiobook today. And I had mentioned last week, the week before, I thought I had also finished Team Strawberries prompts, and that I was looking, and there was one prompt I didn't hit, and that was read a book under 200 pages. And I was like, how did I miss that? So I picked up a novella, and I decided to go with The Mercenary's Bride by Claire Delacroix. This is historical romance, Christmas novella? Question mark? Maybe? Or holiday novella? I'm not 100% sure. I'm 49% of the way through. The audiobook's like 2.5 hours, but I'm listening it to like 1.3 speed. That's kind of my like base speed that I listen to. So I definitely should be able to finish this tonight as well. I listened to a good chunk of this during the reading sprints for the kickoff for the romance readathon. So that'll be great because even though it's a novella, I'll be able to get the extra historical romance bonus points for it. So these are technically going to count because she said anything that you were reading during sprints tonight that you finish, even though you might have started it beforehand, would count for the readathon. So I was like, great. So that is the plan. I'm going to finish those hopefully tonight. Like I said, that's 2 more hours of reading. That puts me at like 11:30-ish at this point. So that should be doable by me for finishing books. I'll probably focus on my ebook first and then jump to the audiobook. And then maybe I'll pick up a new ebook after I finish the audiobook when I like go to bed. But I think that's all I have for you. I think I'm going to stop talking at you now. We're at like 45 minutes. So hopefully I will see you tomorrow on Tuesday. I hope you have a great day. And yeah, I'll see you very shortly. Hello. Hello from the kitty as well. She's sitting next to me meowing. So I was like, come say hi, huh? Happy Wednesday. I did not film a clip yesterday. Yeah, I just wasn't in the mood for it. Tonight, it's been a day. I've had a headache since about 1:30 today. So when I got home, there was the Avengers live show, Avengers Assemble, to kind of talk about Secret Invasion, now that that's over. So I was watching that on Twitch. And I just laid on my bed in the dark room and enjoyed that. So that was nice. But yeah. Things just were happening. I'm trying to think, what was I doing? Oh, I was editing last night, and then I needed to do some of my last minute readathon things. Like I needed to get the rest of my Little Cafe readathon stuff submitted, and then I was updating some of my July readathons and reading challenges, and then the ones that are going, like the quarterly ones that are going all summer and stuff, I was getting all those updated. So I try to do all that at least once a month. For some reason, I decided to do it last night instead of, later this week, but it is what it is. So yeah, that is why. So we will have 2 days to do on the quest calendar once again. However, let's talk about books first. So we have catch up for Monday night and last night. So Monday night, I know I said I was planning on finishing, and I did. So I did finish That Kind of Guy by Stephanie Archer. I'm going to give it 4 stars. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I I thought it was kind of silly the way that things went down. You could kind of see who was going to be causing issue, our like little villain, Chuck, and the previous mayor. And that was just, it didn't need it. Like there was enough drama, so to speak, between the will they, won't they, between Emmett and Avery. We didn't need them both potentially having to give up what their like life plan is, kind of thing. So I was just like, it felt really unnecessary, but I thought they were cute. And there's a little teaser for the next book, and it seems like Emmett's brother, that is the like surf bro, will be paired up with Hannah, who is Avery's friend who owns the local bookstore and is super bookish and introverted. So at some point, I'll pick up that book because I definitely am intrigued to read more. And the town is cute, and we'll see. I think it's just Avery was too prickly of a heroine for me. And I didn't like the way that she acted. I don't know why, but still, with the turtle thing, it still bothers me. And then there's even like a joke made about it in the epilogue. And maybe I was taking the turtle thing more serious than the characters were, or at least than Emmett was. But like, if we're gonna have, like, it's one thing if he just doesn't like turtles because he thinks they're slimy and they're gross creatures, like, that's one thing. But the fact that, like, it was pointed out on a couple different occasions that he doesn't like turtles because he ran one over with his bicycle when he was a kid made me think it was more of, like, a trauma thing. And, like, when he sees a turtle, he just gets really sad because he potentially killed one, type of a thing. But apparently that wasn't actually it, and I was reading too much into the situation. So just a couple little things that didn't quite get it to a 5-star for me, but 4 stars, I still enjoyed it. Plus, it officially means that I have read Stephanie Archer now, so I can pick up Behind the Net by her at any point to do all of my prompts for my Impling Summoning Challenge for Magical Readathon, because Behind the Net covers all of the prompts, which is great. So as for what I used this for, now it did work for our Romanceopoly roll, Amore Avenue. So the strict prompt is read a contemporary romance with an illustrated cover, so that takes care of that. When I did roll that one, however, I did already roll my second one, so in case you were wondering, you missed last week's video, my next Romanceopoly prompt, I've been doing the specific ones. If you're doing genre, it's sci-fi. If you're doing the specific one, it's The Bar. Read a book where the main character works at or owns a bar. I have one idea that I'm thinking of picking up, but it wasn't on my already planned TBR, so we'll see what happens. But maybe I'll end up picking up a historical where somebody owns like a tavern kind of situation. But anyway, back to this book. For Guildathon, I use this for 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is a book that has dancing in it. And there's a couple cute scenes where they're dancing together, like I mentioned before, like when they go to prom. And then there's also dancing at their wedding reception. I also thought the way that them like getting married went down and how they actually ended up getting married was super cute. And I like that that portion wasn't really made a big deal about. So that will kind of help push it to a 4-star from a 3.5 for me. For 2023 Summer Musical Tour, I use this for Depeche Mode, their Memento Mori World Tour. And this is also one of the prompts was dance in the story. For Read the Season, I applied this to holiday number 2 for the letter A. For the Romance Readathon, this counts for 325 points, 300 base points for the page count, and 25 points because it is a romance. For the Little Cafe Readathon, I applied this to Cherry Cream Soda for Team Cherry, which was my team, and that's 2 people on the cover. And then for the Magical Readathon, I applied this to my qualified astronomy class, which is Lunar Alignment, which is read a book in a finished series. So there is that. After I finished reading the ebook of that, I was kind of bouncing between books a couple times, but I did end up also finishing The Mercenary's Bride by Claire Delacroix. Totally didn't realize when I was doing my Google form to put all my stats in my spreadsheet afterwards, and I was like, I don't know if this is indie published. Like, I've seen the name, and so I wasn't sure if this was like an originally traditional published book that's now reverted to her, or exactly how it went. But this is published by Deborah Cook Limited or something like that, and I was like, wait, Deborah Cook, I have her dragon books. I was like, wait a second. And so technically, Claire Delacroix is not a new author to me, but this pen name is new to me because Claire Delacroix is Deborah Cook, and then she also has another pen name. So there's 3 names, I think. But I was like, oh, okay. So this is indie published by Deborah Cook. I don't know which one is her real name. I'm going to guess the Deborah Cook because that's also the name of her company, but that could be her main pen name and her real name is just something we don't know what it is. But anyway, I was super surprised. So there's that. If you have heard of Deborah Cook, but not Claire Delacroix, or you didn't realize that they were one and the same person. I'm trying to see if those books are front and center. I don't believe they are on my bookshelf. Those ones I know were traditionally published, however. But anyway, for The Mercenary's Bride, I'm going to give this 3.5 stars. It was fine. It was called a holiday romance, but I wouldn't consider this a holiday romance, more of like a set at wintertime romance. There is a little bit of mention of them preparing for Yule at the end, but then we kind of have a time jump-ish. It was kind of hard to tell if it was a time jump or if it was just like a couple of weeks of passage in normal time while they were preparing for Christmas, but it didn't really have a lot of Christmas or Yule vibes. This is medieval Scotland, so yeah, it just wasn't. It wasn't the typical like Christmas holiday historical novella. It was more just kind of happened to be set at that time of year. But I mean, it was fine. It was cute. I didn't quite understand a lot of the choices that the characters were making. I liked that our heroine, kind of pushed the boundaries. She was really good at archery. She learned a lot on how to defend herself and to kind of be a warrior. And even though her father didn't want her doing those type of things because he was worried about her safety, he also didn't 100% keep her from doing it. But I thought that the way that her father and his men kind of treated Quentin was weird because he's the former captain of a guard. He's also now injured. He is missing an eye. He's missing a finger. He has a limp. He was attacked in Spain and left for dead and had basically his armor, his weapons, his horse, like everything that he owned stolen. It was left to die and then was found by a monk, and then the monk kind of took him in and helped take care of him and get him back to, being able to function on his own. And, when he pops back up, everyone thinks he's a traitor, and he's just like, okay, thanks for that. I was your captain of the guard. I was the one entrusted to train your daughter. And so it just... yeah, it didn't quite do what I wanted it to do for a novella, but if you are not new here, I am notoriously strict on my novellas on what exactly I want to see with it. So it was fine. If you're looking for a quick, easy historical read, maybe check this out. I listened to the audio on Hoopla, and it was only like 2.5 hours at like normal speed. So that's what it is normally. I speed it up, obviously. So let's talk about what I applied this to. For Gildathon, I used this for Flashfire, which is read a short story or novella. For the 2023 Summer Musical Tour, I applied this to Peter Gabriel I.O. the Tour, and that is one of the options is blue on the cover. For read this season, I applied this to holiday number 2 for the letter M. For Little Cafe Readathon, I also applied this to Cherry Cream Soda for 2 people on the cover. I was going to try to complete more of my Little Cafe Readathon, but what I ended up doing is moving everything that could fit to Team Cherry that wasn't also completing Team Strawberry's menu to Team Cherry prompts if it could. So I had like 10 books that were this prompt with 2 people on the cover. And that's because it was worth 5 points, not 4 points for me. So it was worth it in the long run. So things that I've been telling you I've been applying them to the past month are no longer true. But, you know, it is what it is. For the Romance Readathon, I was able to get 170 points, or 175 points for this. So 100 points for the page range, 25 points for being a romance, and 50 points for being a historical romance. So even though it was a novella and the base points are lower, those bonus points kind of help prop things back up. And then for the Magical Readathon, I ended up using this for my qualified restoration class, which is relocation. Relocating pain. What am I talking about? Relocating pain. And that's the one where every time you pick up a book, you need to pick it up in a different spot. Well, I started the audiobook when I was at work. And then when I came home, I listened to the audiobook when I was doing stuff in the kitchen, making dinner and putting away the dishwasher and stuff. And then later that night, I picked it up when I was in bed. So that one is done, which is great. I don't have to be super mindful about where I am when I pick up a book in the future, unless I'm taking extra classes kind of a thing. So that's super great. Those I did finish Monday night to get them into the Little Cafe Readathon and wrap up July. But if you watch my TBR, Maggie did say during the Romance Readathon kickoff sprints that any of the books you read during the sprint or possibly finished during the sprint, you could count to the Romance Readathon. So even though technically I finished them before August 1st, she said if you finished them during those reading sprints and that night, you could count them. So I did, because why not? Let's get all the points we can get. As for other reading stuff, yesterday at work, I was like, I'll pick up a new audiobook when things kind of quieted down after I got through all the billings and stuff. Like the beginning of the month is always hectic. And I ended up, I was like, I don't know what to pick up. Should I do a historical romance? But I was thinking what I want to do for this month, because I have a lot of different things going on. What I'm going to try to do is do the more specific prompts that I have first, get those knocked out of the way, especially if they're not historical romances. And then once I can kind of get through those, because I have a little bit of time. I have till next weekend. I need to read my book club book for the middle of the month, which I have signed up for after I did my TBR, of course. And then I have the Edge book, which I won't need to do until the weekend of the 19th. I want to pick it up around for book club, for that book club. So the rest of the time, I'm kind of free to read what I want. So I think I'm going to try to focus on other things until I need to pick up my first book club book, and then I can kind of go a little bit hog wild until I pick up the Edge book, and then I'm gonna really kind of just hopefully be able to just binge historical romance as much as I want the rest of the month, and I'll have all of my other prompts kind of taken care of. Hopefully. That is my plan. But it's not going to be some firm plan outside of when I'm planning to pick up my 2 book club books so I have enough time to read them. What I usually do is about a week. A lot of the book clubs I participate in are on Fridays or Saturdays or even Sundays. So what I think in my mind is I want to pick them up the weekend before, whether it's I pick that up that Friday night and have a weekend to read it, or I pick it up Sunday night and that's the book I'm reading during the week, because I like to read the books as close as I can to the book club meeting, but also give me enough time to get it done. And usually if it's a 300 to 400 page book, I can usually read it in 1 to 2 nights. But sometimes things kind of go awry. So I like to give myself time. But all this to say, I was like, oh, you know what? One specific book I had on my TBR for Magical Readathon was Hell on Fire by Brenda K. Davies. I knew it was in Kindle Unlimited, but I was like, let me just see if there's an audiobook for it. And Hoopla does have the audiobook. So I picked this up at work. Things ended up happening. I only got through 3% at work, and I was just like, okay. But last night when I was doing my readathon stuff, I did restart it and I got through 19%. So I am trucking along on that one, and I'm intrigued so far. So apparently this is a spin-off. It was kind of mentioned in the beginning. This spins off of a different series by her, but you don't have to read it. Like, that's like the forward kind of thing that was also in the audiobook, which is great. So we have our heroine is Ren, and so basic premise of this world, somehow world governments were playing with things that they shouldn't have been playing with and open a gate to hell. So, and there's no Buffy in this world. Thanks for that. And demons basically ran wild on Earth. Before the start of this book, though, that gate has been closed. However, there are a lot of demons still on Earth, and some of them, I don't know what they call it, but maybe like court, or like not just like mindless demons, but like the more humanoid, sentient thinking demons are helping humans to eradicate these like bad demons. There's also a king of the demons, or a leader of the demons, that's living here on Earth. And when this originally happened, what humans did was one of two things. They either became wilders, or they became what the wilders call civvies, which are people who still live in the cities, but they have kind of integrated their societies so that demons are also living with them. And like, it's a more cooperative living situation. And then there was some humans who became the wilders, who went out into the wilderness, lived off the land, and kept away from civvies, demons. They focused on hunting demons that were in those areas and keeping their people safe, and just basically kind of became survivalists. And now that there is the king, or like a leader of the demons on Earth, he started reaching out to these wilder groups that are living in the forests and just being like, we have some sort of I just lost the name. I just lost the word. Alliance kind of deal, where you'll help us either protect or save people who are still out in the wilderness or other towns from these other bad demons. And, you know, we invite you to live in these cities and be a part of this, and no one's gonna say anything or kill you on sight or anything like that. So they're trying to bring like everybody together to live cohabitively and peacefully on Earth now. And Ren is kind of the new leader. There's a question right now on who the real leader is of her section or her group of wildlers. But because the king had already made this type of deal with a couple other wilder groups, and then her group was approached, and most everybody in the group agreed to go along with it. Ren also has gone along with this. So now that she's kind of working with this king of the demons, and also one of his like head general type guys. And his name is, now that I have this pulled up, Corson, and he is a demon. I'm not sure what kind of a demon, but so Corson and these other generals are teaming up with the more hunting, skilled wilders to track down all of these like bad demons who are not following quid pro pro. I don't know. As you can tell, I still kind of have a little bit of a headache, but I was like, I need to film a clip. So we're just going to push through. Corson is very much into Ren, of course, and she doesn't want anything to do with him. She is super attracted to him, but he's a demon and she doesn't want to deal with it. And she sees that, he has this little thing where he kind of bounces from women to women. We do see him talk about, like, as a demon, it's very different when he sleeps with a human woman versus a demon woman, because with a demon woman, they're both like very obviously like just taking care of their needs. And as demons, they have a higher sexual drive, and, you know, need to take care of themselves more than like a human would. And it's just more fun with humans. He talks about how when, like, it's very kind of transactional and like very almost detached when he's with a demon woman, but humans can have fun. And he likes that, you know, when he sleeps with a human woman, they can laugh and it's not just like wham bam thank you ma'am kind of a thing. But he's super attracted to Ren, and Ren's super attracted to him. But she sees him as kind of, not only is he a demon, he's kind of a playboy, which by human standards he is. By demon standards, not really. But yeah, so he was out doing his rotation of being a lookout and keeping an eye in the area of the forest where they are. They're kind of traveling to deal with some things that have been happening. And Ren doesn't realize he's there, and she's out hunting and she kills a stag, and then Carson kind of joins her, or Corson. I keep saying Carson. It's Corson. It's O's. And then they fall into a pit trap by an Ouroboros demon, which Ouroboros aren't supposed to be that terrifying. Like, I don't like snakes. But they took that and they made it more snaky and with like weird multiple tails. And I mean, it's super cool, but I'm just like, I don't like snakes. So now they're kind of trapped in this huge underground living space of this Ouroboros demon, and they're trying to escape. And then they run into a couple of jinn, and they're trying to stay away from these jinn because it can have really bad side effects. And so they're trying to make their way free of this pit. So, you know, forced proximity, stuck together. They're in the dark. He still can't see even with his supernatural eyesight. So, you know, Ren's really kind of forced to depend on him more than she typically would. And I'm enjoying it so far. Like I said, it's only 19%, but I'm enjoying the setup. I'm enjoying this world. It has a lot of like the basic demon hell apocalypse kind of gate to hell situations in it from stuff, other paranormals and like Buffy and things that I've seen, but there's enough unique twists on the demons themselves that it still feels kind of slightly fresh and not like as samey as everything else. So I'm enjoying it so far for sure. So yeah, I listened to that last night and I got to 19%. I haven't listened to anything today. I didn't read anything physically last night. Before I was filming my clip, I was trying to figure out what I want to pick up next physically. And I was trying to figure out what I had either checked out on KU already that would work for some of my magical readathon prompts. Or, you know, kind of where I was going to go from here. And then I realized my song prompt was Bad Love. So I was like, okay, let's just see what I already have on my Kindle with either bad. And I looked up bad first because I knew, like, with some of these long titles, like blah, 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 a friends to lovers, blah, 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 romance, you know, with all the extra little things added to titles, I was like, there's going to be a lot of enemies to lovers and friends to lovers that pop up. And that's not what I'm looking for. I need love in the title. So I did bad first. There was a couple options, none of them I was kind of feeling. And then when I did love, there was a lot. There's a lot on my Kindle. I think it was 320 something. But I was going through the huge list. I just organize it by author. That's kind of my default, is author last name. I realized Jackie Lau's new book, which I still haven't read yet. They came out at the end of July, is 4 Weddings to Fall in Love. So there we go. So that will be the next ebook I pick up. It is a contemporary romance, which I know doesn't get me all the points for the romance readathon, but Jackie Lau is a BIPOC author, so I'll get bonus points there, plus the 25 points for romance. And even though July was so contemporary heavy and I wanted to get away from contemporary a little bit to start this month, I'm just going right back in. I've become a contemporary girly as of late, but it's fine. It's fine. It's Jackie Lau. She's one of my favorite authors. I can't wait to read the series. The only thing where I'm just like, oh, don't read it yet, is because it'll be a little bit before we have the next book, let alone the other 3 books in this series. So I like to binge Jackie Lau's series, but that's okay. It's okay. I'm going to read it tonight. I will start it tonight. I don't even know how long it is. Jackie Lau's independent stuff is a little bit on the smaller side. Let me see if I can pull it up on my Kindle just so we can see in store. Let's see what this says. 235 pages. So that's not bad. That's not bad at all. So I might be able to finish this tonight. So we shall see. But that is it book-wise. And I'm super excited. I don't really know much about the blurb. I never read the blurb. All I know is what she told us in her newsletter, that this was the first book. It's 4 brothers, I think. 3 brothers? I think it's 4 brothers. But I might be thinking it's 4 brothers because it's 4 weddings to fall in love. But it is... At some point, I don't know when they become more, but it is our hero and our heroine are going to all these different weddings that they're somehow friends or related to one, either the bride or groom, or I think there is a same-sex couple for one of them as well. But they like keep running into each other through like these like 4 weddings. So I don't know. I'm excited. It'll be cute and I can't wait to read it. So let's do the quest calendar and then I will stop talking at you because I just can't stop myself. So we have 2 days to do. Monday. Oh yeah, Monday. We crash landed our ship where we think Andy's little secret hideout must have been. So, whoa. Weird. Okay, this is a super pixelated art. It's fun to see the different artists, but sometimes when it goes such a completely different direction, I'm like, whoa, jarring. But it still looks nice. It's just so different from everything else that I wish there was a little bit more cohesion. That's my only little thing. But anyway, the Karnak crashes down amongst the trees. Everyone on the bridge appears to be alive with some minor scrapes and bruising. You need to get a status report after the crash. So 1, check on the crew and passengers. 2, survey the damage. 3, gather supplies. All right, so let me pull my character sheet out here, and then we will get to rolling. All right, number 1, check on the crew and passengers. Everyone is alive, but many have an injury of some sort. Others are mostly in shock. So, would you like to use a medkit to help others? We have them. So, yes, I would like to. Yes, remove a medkit from your inventory and add a 2d4 bonus to the roll. Heck yeah. Okay, so this is just a straight charisma roll, and our charisma is a +1. But we get 2d4. Okay, so that is a 17. So we're at 18. And then we'll do our 2d4 here. So 18, 4. So 22 and 3. So 25 total. Okay, if the result is 15 or more, you help and personally attend to each one of the injured to aid in any way you can. This is effective, appreciated, and will save in the cost of supplies. Gain 2 credits. Okay, fun. 2, survey the damage. The ship took a lot of damage and will need substantial repairs. Some things get broken and can't be fixed. Hopefully, the Karnak just needs to be rebooted. Hopefully. So, intellectual reminder engineering. We do have engineering, and our intellect is also a +1. So we get a +3 to our roll. And that is a 13. So 16 total. All right, if the result is 15 or more, the ship won't be operational without a few new parts. You take a thorough inventory of the damage so you know exactly what to get when you are back in town. Askell and SD-113 should be able to start on some of the repairs until then. Note down repair list somewhere for future use. Perfect. Okay, and then number 3, gather supplies. You will be traveling on foot from here with Captain Kalis and First Mate Brokvar. The captain has compassion and agrees to let Maddox accompany the group since it is his mother you are searching for. So this is a wisdom roll reminder survivalist. So we do have survivalist and we do have wisdom. It is a +4. Everybody has wisdom. I don't know why I said we do have it, but it is a positive. So total of +6 to this roll. And that is a 9, so 15. Is that going to be enough this time? It is. If the result is 15 or more, you find a few things that you wouldn't normally think to bring with you, but given the circumstances and the terrain, you want to be fully prepared. Note down, prepared for travel, somewhere for future use. So many notes that we have to keep track of. My goodness. Okay, so we will just move forward. So there's our ship, our pixelated ship. Let's see what today brought. Okay, alrighty. It looks like we're going to be having some combat with another weird, creepy alien thing. Great. Just great. Okay. After traveling a while through the jungle, you hear the rustling of leaves and cracking of branches in the distance. The sound approaches quickly. A large and vibrant beast charges from the shadows to find its next meal. So this will be 3 rounds of combat. Dexterity, attack, and damage. And it says, number 1, try to calm the beast, and number 2, fight off the beast. So let's see what happens. Okay, so we can try to calm it first. Great. So this is Charisma Roll Reminder Animal Tamer. We do have Animal Tamer, and our Charisma is a +1. So we get a +3. All right, so that is a 17, so 20. If the result is 15 or more, the beast slows its approach, but is still hungry. Gain a +2 defense in combat below. Okay, well, we at least got +2 to defense. Hopefully we won't need it, but we shall see. So let's just get straight to it. All right, so before we do our attack rolls, we need to make a dexterity check that is 9 or more. And this is to avoid becoming restrained, aka grappled, if you're used to normal D&D speak. So our dexterity is a +4. So we will need a 5, we will need a 4 or less to be restrained. So that is a 7 on the die. We are good. So now we will attack. Our attack is +7. And that is a 1. I would like to use my reroll, please. So we are going to use Time Step, which allows me to reroll any die roll once per page. So we will be using that. That is a 10. That's a lot better. Let's just tack that 0 to that 1. So 17 total to hit. All right. So if you are not restrained and your attack roll is 16 or more, you hit. Cool. Good to know, just barely. So our damage is 2d12 plus 2. So that is 8 and 6. So 14, so 16 total damage. All right, so we needed 11 or more to stun the creature. So it is stunned, which means it does not attack us. So on to round number 2. So dexterity first. We need a 5 or higher. That is a 19 on the die. Love it. Okay, so now to attack. And so now we know we need a 9 or more to hit. And that is a natural 20. We have learned our lesson. So yeah, we hit. So now we will roll damage. So that is a 7 and a 10. So 17, 19 damage for round number 2. Okay, so we need 12 or more this round to stun the creature. And we have done so. So round number 3. All right, dexterity roll is a 14 on the die, so we are good. So to attack, that is a 19. So we hit on our 3rd hit, which is great. So damage is a 7 and an 8. So 15, 17 total damage. Okay, so if you hit and your damage roll is 10 or more, the beast is stunned this round. Okay, so that's round 3. So if you dealt a total of 20 damage or more, you defeated the beast. Yes, we did, for sure. Collect 1 credit for each round you stunned the beast. Collect 2 additional credits if you defeated the beast. So we get 5 total credits from defeating this bestial creature. Although it looks more humanoid than beast, but that's fine. It's fine. Okay. All right. So there's that. We are done. And I'm going to leave you at this. We're at almost 40 minutes and that's super long, but we had 2 days to do. So that's like 20 minutes a day, right? That's not too bad. Not too bad. So I'll stop talking. Hopefully I will see you tomorrow. We shall see, but I hope you have a good Thursday. And I'm going to try to wake up early tomorrow because tonight is Wednesday, August 2nd, and Big Brother is finally back. We have season 25. So yeah, Big Brother is going to start ruling my life. And this season will go until November, which I'm not looking forward to because that means it's overlapping with not only football season this year, but also hockey season. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, now I will say goodbye. Hello. Happy Friday. I have a hair sticking straight up there. That's weird. But anyway, I meant to film a clip last night, but yeah, I didn't. The past couple days have been a little rough for me, but yeah, I don't really want to get into it too much right now. So I'm just going to leave it at that. So let's do the quest calendar because we have 2 days to do and catch up on. So where we last left was this beast creature was tracking us down, but we defeated it. So, oh, okay. Looks like we might have found Andy's little hideout or someone's hideout. You finally come to the clearing where the messenger mentioned meeting Andy. You see the turrets that shot at you. They are perched on top of a tunnel entrance. You see them rotating and scanning the area for movement. A, sneak around the turrets. B, try to remotely hack the turrets. Or C, shoot them from a distance. So I'm going to go with A. We're going to try to sneak around them. So let's see if there's any other information. There is not. So this is dexterity roll, reminder stealthy. We do have stealthy, and our dexterity is a +4. So +6 total. And that is a 10. So 16. Is that enough? Okay, if the result is 15 or more. You do well at concealing yourself and sneaking closer to the turrets. However, the turret's sensors are highly advanced and spot you before you get too close. Gain a +2 bonus to all attack rolls on the next page. Okay. Well, that's fun, and we will remember because we are immediately going to jump into it. So, there's the little hideout area. So I'm assuming turrets are attacking us. Yep. Turrets are attacking us. Poor Maddox is like, no. All right. The mounted turrets continue to rain down fire upon you. You are pinned in place and can only get an occasional attack in if you are careful and quick. So we're going to have 4 rounds with a dexterity roll, attack roll, and damage. Okay, I wonder if those are being like, if they're automated or if someone's actually firing at us. I'm intrigued. Okay, so we will need a dexterity roll that is 7 or less to not become restrained. So the way I'm guessing visually that this is working is we're not hiding behind the rocks. We're able to be dexterous enough to sneak out and get a shot off for a ranged attack off. So we have a +4 to our dexterity. So I just need to roll a 4 or higher and we are fine. And that is a 15. So now we will do our attack rolls. So my attack is a +7, but we get a +2, so +9. Okay, so I rolled an 8. So what's the matter? I hear her meowing in the bedroom. I don't know if you can hear that. What? Mama's out here. She's like looking for me. She's so cute. Anyway, okay, so we rolled an 8. What are we at? We're at a +9, so 17. Okay, attacking for round 1. All right, so we needed a 15 or more to hit this turret. So we do hit. So I will roll damage, which is 2d12 plus 2. All right, ooh, an 11, pretty high roll, and a 7, so 18, so 20 total damage. All right, and we needed 10 or more to stun the turret. Okay, so round number 2. So dexterity roll first. We need a 4 or higher. That is an 8 on the die. So whoop, our attack roll is a 17. And what were we at? We're at +9. So 26 to hit. For turret number 2, we needed a 17 or more, so we successfully hit. Okay, so 5 plus... It rolled too far. I can't see. Is that a 9 or a 4? That's a 4. So that's 9, 10, 11. So 11 damage on turret number 2. Okay, and we needed 8 or more to stun it. Perfect. So on to round number 3. So dexterity roll is a 16 on the die. So we are good. And to attack is another 16, weirdly enough. So 25. To attack. For round 3, we needed 16 or more, so we do successfully hit. So damage, 12, 1 max, and a 9, so 21, so 23 points of damage on turret number 3. This one needed 9 or more to be stunned. Perfect, so on to our final round. So dexterity roll is a 13 on the die. To attack is also a 13, so that puts us at 22 to hit this one. And we needed a 15 or more, so we do successfully hit. So damage. That is a 10 and 10. Okay, so 22 damage total for round number 4. Turret number 4. And that one we needed 10 or more to stun it. Perfect. So if you dealt a total of 20 damage or more, you destroy the turrets. We got that on like 3 of the 4 rounds. Okay, great. All right. So collect 1 credit for each round you stun the turrets, and then collect 3 additional credits if you destroyed it. So we get a total of 7 credits for this page. And that's it for the quest calendar. So fairly quick and easy. So let us talk about books, and then I will wrap things up. So we'll start with Hell on Earth. I have kind of slowly been plugging away at this one. I listened to it a little bit during the Romance Readathon sprints last night. And then I was able to listen to a good chunk of it today at work. However, Big Brother is now on, so I don't know if I'll be getting to quite as many audiobooks because I do really enjoy listening. Like, the live feeds are fun to just throw on for Big Brother, but I prefer to listen to the live feed recap that's done by Taryn, who's a part of the Rob Has a Podcast stuff. I'll link their website down below if you are also into Big Brother, or honestly any TV show, reality wise or like normal scripted, because the other half of Rob Has a Podcast is the post show recaps, and I love listening to those for like the fantasy and Star Wars shows as well. But anyway, I don't know how much audiobook time I'm going to get moving forward, but I want to get this one done at least. So, we are at 45%, is what I got to today at work. Now, I'm not 100% sure what our full plot is of this book, like where we're trying to get our characters to do, like what the big overarching plot is. I kind of ish read the blurb, but I didn't really read too much of it. But so our people did manage to escape the Ouroboros tunnels. It took them a while, and when they finally popped up, they had to kind of figure out where they were because they were traveling forever underground. They had a couple moments where they woke up snuggled together, and then things got a little hot and heavy. Our heroine, Ren, she definitely keeps pushing our person away. Coron? I don't know why. I can never remember his name. Every time I hear it in the book, I'm like, oh, that's right. That's his name. I don't know why. It just won't stick in my brain. But she's pushing him away. What was unexpectedly very sad and had me tearing up when I was making dinner last night, Corson. I need to think. Carson from Marvel. Or Coulson from Marvel, but change the L for an R. Corson. Okay, I might remember it now. I have related him back to Marvel. But I guess when they were still with the big group of wilders out tracking down demons that got past the seals, is what they're called, they went by the neighborhood that Ren grew up in. The apocalypse happened when she was 8 years old. And yeah, this was kind of a hard scene to listen to. It was definitely having me tear up because, it was because she went by her former house, and then we later come to find out some other horrendous information about her old house that she grew up in. She is now, since this is like the first time she's got like a full night's of rest without having to do, like be in charge and get less sleep and, make sure everybody's doing their rounds and all the guarding whatevers. She's having nightmare flashbacks to the day that the apocalypse happened, which I think was a really smart way for the author to show us what happened. I don't know how much of this is a part of the previous book. I don't know what's going on. There's been a couple of talks about a human who went into hell and then came back, and now he's immortal, and how the queen to the new king of the demons, because they defeated Lucifer, might be either half human or all human, but she's now mated to him. I feel like that might have been what this series spun off of, which is intriguing. But this one, she's having flashbacks. So we see at least more specifically what happened to Ren when it happened. There was some really weird things that happened, and I knew bad things were going to happen because it started out so cute with her and her mom hanging out in the kitchen making cookies, because when her dad had to go in to work on Saturdays, they would make some sort of cookie, some sort of baking item, so when he came home they would have a treat for him, and then they could spend the rest of the weekend together, and it was really sweet. And then there was a weird gust of wind and everything went silent, and then after a couple moments of just pure utter silence, like no birds, no nature sounds, no nothing, all the car alarms went off and then they all died. And so, her and her mom go stand on the porch, and I'm like, look out your window. Don't go out on the porch. Something weird is happening and you feel like the world is not right in that moment. I'm not going to go stand outside. I'm going to just look out the window. And they see these couple of teenagers who are outside playing on like their bikes and stuff. A couple demons pop up, come strolling out of who knows where, and starts eviscerating one of those teenagers. And I was like, holy shit. It was like sudden horror scene for me. And I was like, oh, yeah, no wonder her psyche is completely traumatized and damaged. But then we see her and her mom escape into the house because these demons are kind of starting to take over their neighborhood, and they're just killing people left and right. And her mom hides her under the kitchen counter. And it was like really visceral, and I am talking about it because even though there is like death and killing in this, it's mostly of like, this specific moment was like really hard hitting, and because it was such an emotional, high emotion scene, and not just like our characters fighting bad demons and being kick-ass like that. But she mentions how, sometimes when the door closes and it's one of the ones with the little towel rack on it, and the towel gets in the way, and the door doesn't close all the way because the towel's in the way. So she saw a couple demons tear the arms off of her mother and watched her mother die. And she was so terrified she didn't leave the counter for several days. And, was just, defecating and peeing herself, and was a terrified little girl and watching her mother's body decompose. And then she finally got out of, she managed to finally crawl out of the cupboard. And there was the cookie dough batter that they had sitting there. And she ate that, and then she threw it up because it's been cookie dough batter that's just sitting out. And she just, she didn't have any energy whatsoever. So when the Randy guy, who's the leader of her group of wilders, popped up, he kind of force fed her and forced her to clean herself up, and then took her in. And she kind of, when she's relating why she's having nightmares and what happened specifically to her, to Corson, I almost forgot it. She goes into more elaboration of how she joined in with the Wilders. And she mentions that, most people probably wouldn't have taken a traumatized, completely dirty, unkempt 8-year-old with them. But he wouldn't leave her. He wouldn't strand her there. Which made me like Randy. And we don't know Randy. We've heard talks about Randy. But so I was just like, okay. So he kind of became her pseudo father. But what triggered the nightmares is she came to find out, I don't know if she said when she left or if she heard from Randy, but her father made it home and he died on the porch. And she was just sitting inside the house, like trapped in her own trauma, and had no idea that her father was that close. And she mentions what triggers this is not just seeing her house, but seeing what's now skeletons still on the porch in the same position. And seeing her mom's planters, even though there's nothing in it, her planters are still hanging up on the porch. And It was hard to listen to. I was just like, ugh. And then when we come out of the flashback and she's talking, and then we find out about what happened to her dad, and I was just like, oh my gosh, he was right there. He was almost to his daughter. And then, maybe they could have gone together type of situation. But otherwise, in less sad news for the book, we're learning a little bit about the world building. I guess fallen angels are a thing, and there is like a heaven and a hell. There isn't necessarily a god. They just refer to it as a powerful being, but it doesn't have a name. And that, the only of the three realms, all three realms, so earth, the heaven and the hell, as we'll call it, were created with the Big Bang. And what's interesting is humans are the only things with souls. But because they have souls, we have shorter lives. But the angels and demons are mortal, but they don't have souls. So when you die, you are, if you had a good life or if you did some bad things, it tells where you are. And then what happens is those realms and those creatures in those realms kind of feed off the energy of the soul until it's time for that soul to be reincarnated on Earth. So I thought that was kind of interesting. They also have what's called chosen ones, and it's basically a fated mate situation. And the demons have this biological thing where they don't really have to worry about birth control. They are not ready to have a baby until they have met their chosen one, and even then it's difficult to conceive. But I'm definitely getting vibes that Ren and Corson are fated. So that's super fun. I'm hoping to kind of finish it this weekend. Now that I'm really kind of dug into it, I'm excited to see where this goes. I think I understand Ren's trauma, but sometimes she takes out her hatred on other demons, even though she has talked specifically about how over the past 14 years since this has happened, that there is a difference between the mindless, chaotic, we want to kill just to kill demons, and like the demons that have more sentient thinking, like Corson, and that there is a difference between the demons. And there are some sentient demons that aren't just mindless destruction murder bots, but they're like chosen to be like that. So they're like psychotic or something. But she's still just... Sometimes she calls them demon, and it hurts his feelings, and I'm like, don't hurt our demon. And I guess his demon type, I don't remember what it is, but he talks about it where it's very similar to elves. And he thinks that a lot of elven mythology that Earth has is based off of his type of demon, which is interesting. Didn't expect an elf here, but I'm here for it. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I've liked the steam for the most part between them. Ren has gotten a little too pushback against Corson, especially because he saved her life multiple times at this point. And I'm like, girl, chill out. Like, okay, fine. You don't want to sleep with him. You don't want to go that far, but you don't need to be treating him like a piece of dirt when he is saving your life. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm also the person who maybe would trust him too much and jump into bed with him too quickly. So, to each their own, I guess. But I am enjoying it so far. As for, I did start that Jackie Lau book I was talking about, 4 Weddings to Fall in Love. I am currently at 73%. According to my Kindle, I have 40 minutes left in the book, so I should definitely be able to finish this tonight. Like I said, I wasn't 100% sure what the setup is, but so we've got 4 weddings that our 2 main characters are going to. We've got Kim and Max is Max Mock, who is the basis of the series, and he does have 3 brothers. I was correct in that. But he and Kim meet at this first wedding. It is his best friend and one of her best friends and also a work friend. And they are, they have a one night stand. And Max is not a one night stand type of person. And they have very, very bad relations. I mean, it is so bad. He doesn't even get her off, and then he falls asleep on her, and then they run into each other at the next wedding, and the next 3 weddings they have to go to are all cousins of Max's, but Kim's mom is best friends with his Aunt Gladys, who these are her 3 kids getting married. So they're going to run into each other at the next 3 weddings. And he's like trying to hide behind a potted plant, and he's trying to like stay away from her and avoid her as much as he can because he's so embarrassed. But he's also like very upfront with himself. Like he's like, I've never done a one night stand. That is not my not my type of situation. I am a relationship person. I like being comfortable. I don't like pressing boundaries. I like being able to have my partner tell me what they like and, you know, working with them to see what we both like in that situation. And with the one night stand situation, that doesn't always work well. If you are someone like Max who struggles to be open with people and really want to push boundaries or are comfortable with pushing boundaries, at least verbally talking about things. But once they figure it out, like they decide to have a date and they kind of both open up about what they like during intimacy. And oh boy, I think this is Jackie Lau's steamiest book to date. Max can certainly get it. He's got a little bit of that stern professor type attitude. He definitely, it seems like he might have some anxiety or something like that. So there's some type of like mental health representation here. Kim was very badly burned from a previous relationship. What I find super interesting is it wasn't just her boyfriend, but her boyfriend's mom. Her boyfriend's mom definitely treated her like crap, and then he didn't stand up to her at all. So she's very nervous to get into any type of relationship because she already struggles enough with her parents that she doesn't want to add a mother-in-law into the mix, which I get it. I mean, I can get it. If you just don't want to deal, you don't want to deal. But I'm really enjoying them together. I think they're super cute. Max wants a relationship, and Kim kind of is like, if it'd be anybody, it was Max, but she's still kind of nervous about it. They just had another date and a sleepover, and Max's mom has shown up. So she comes by once a month. Max totally spaced that it was his mom's weekend to come by because she always, when she goes grocery shopping in the area where he lives, she always comes by to see him. His mom also seems very much like him, where she's very quiet and stoic. And yeah, I'm loving it. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm enjoying the potential setups for the other brothers. I just love Jackie Lau. So I'm going to leave it at that. And there we have it. There is another week done in 2023. So I'm looking forward to finishing these books this weekend and getting some things taken care of. So yeah, we're going to leave it at that. So let me know down below if you have read Jackie Lau before. That is going to be my question, because Jackie Lau is one of my favorite contemporary authors. I particularly love her indie stuff. It hits all of the right buttons for me. We've also got some foodie stuff. It is not a Jackie Lau book without some foodie stuff. She is a Canadian. I just love the way that she writes diversely. She mostly writes at least one, if not both, of her main characters are Asian, but she has written all races that I have seen. Yeah, and I just love her to death. So if you haven't, let me know, because if you are interested in her, I can definitely have some recommendations, because like I said, she's one of my favorites. But if you'd like to just leave me an emoji, leave me something wedding related, a dress, a cake, anything fun like that. But otherwise, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all soon with another video.